is challenging, because they probably don't even think about it.
No, they wouldn't think
It's
about
smooth, what else do you want?
it. Yeah, that's right. You don't notice that it's actually on a hill,
Yeah,
until
yeah.
you're in there. Well, you can see it, but
And if you're finding it,
yeah, I was
imagine
like,
it, you know, if you were 70 or 80 trying to push a purse around.
Yep. And the other thing we found is Munpara, their disabled toilet has a glass door, which is insane. And if you stand at the end of it, you can see out. And they have their faucets here and their hand dryer here, and she can't actually get to the hand dryer in a wheelchair because the faucet comes out too far. And I was like, everyone must experience this in a wheelchair because you cannot physically get to it at all. It's just beyond reach.
That's
Yeah.
really bad in a public place.
Yep. Yeah, and glass doors. And the glass doors are just
Yes.
like frosted, lightly frosted. And I'm
Bizarre.
like, you can see that we're in there like through the glass, because I went out and like looked back and like you can clearly see there's a wheelchair in there. So you don't really have privacy.
Jeez, that's terrible. No wonder people like Lynn get quite fierce. They've
Yep.
got every right to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got it and I left it in the car.
Well, welcome everybody. Firstly, we'd like to acknowledge this land we meet on today as the traditional lands of the Gawler people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with the country. We also acknowledge the Gawler people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Gawler people today. And it looks like we're all here, so full house. Is anybody want to leave of absence for the future?
Yes, could I have leave of absence for the June 11th meeting, please?
I'm happy to
We noted.
second that.
Any declarations of
Sorry, we need to move and second.
Oh.
So
Do you move that?
Judy's going to move her own leave
I'll
of
second it.
absence. Beautiful. Seconded by Helen. And you just do a vote.
vote?
All in favour?
Are there any declarations of interest? And do we have confirmation of the minutes?
I'm happy to confirm.
Okay.
I can second.
And yeah, vote, show of hands.
Thank you.
Is there any business arising from the minutes?
We're having trouble hearing you, Adrian.
Move the microphone right up to your capacity down.
Is there any business arising from the minutes? First item is an information report on collections, acquisitions update for April, and it looks like there's 5 very interesting and eclectic items that have been brought into the collection. I wonder if does Jacinta want to say anything about it?
So thank you. Through the chair, I just wanted to give a bit more detail to the committee about some of these items. The Frank Cork photographic collection came to us from the Gawler History team. As the committee is aware, we have an understanding with the Gawler History team. When they are given donations, they put those as a digital copy up on their website, but they provide us with the physical copies so that they can be stored for years to come. So the Frank Cork collection has local photographs, but it's also representative of his life's work as an important photographer in Adelaide and as a magazine publisher. The first aid kit came to us from a local couple who bought it in a Gawler antique store 30 years ago. They were told it was local. I don't have any evidence that it was local. However, it's perfect for our upcoming exhibition, and it's very, very interesting. It's certainly a very early first aid kit, complete with bottles that contained some dangerous chemicals. So that's a fascinating addition to the collection. The Ladies Hellfire Ensemble banner and DVD, so we have quite a number of objects in the collection from the Ladies Hellfire Ensemble, and this will add to that. The photograph of Dorothy Nowak, again, that was a fortuitous timing in that came to us with a photograph of her with the US servicemen that she billeted, which we'll again use in the forthcoming exhibition. And the plaque from the headstone of Otto Schomburg just will go into our Schomburg file and round out the information that we have on him. And we're working with the Friends of the Bushvelder Cemetery to acquire as much information as we can and to have that readily available.
Yes, a really eclectic group. However, and I'm sure Judy might be able to confirm, I would not necessarily call the Ladies Hellfire a local drama and theatrical group. They're more a choral and theatrical group, perhaps? What would you say, Judy?
Well, it's plenty of drama, but you just add choral to that,
Okay.
what you've got there, I think. I think that sums us up pretty much.
It was a singing group.
Primarily singing, yeah, it was.
That's excellent.
Anyone else wish to say anything?
So Otto Schomburg, was it him or his brother that's the one that we named the street afterwards?
So through the chair, that was Richard Schomburg, who was here too,
Okay.
obviously, and was very involved in the Gawler Institute, but then he went to Adelaide to become the director of the Botanic Gardens, and we named the road after him.
Who was also a sister.
Yes.
There was a whole pile of Schomburgs here.
And Julius, the silversmith.
And yes, and Julius the silversmith.
So, do we have to vote on this?
We need to. I'm happy to move the motion, the recommendation. Hang on, wait a second.
And item 7 is items listed for discussion, and 7 we got one, an exhibition update.
So through the chair, I'd just like to give the committee a bit of an update about where we're at with our new exhibition. It will open on May the 6th. At the time, 2 years ago, when we decided to do Women and War, the world was in a much more stable place than it currently is. For that reason, we've thought very carefully about what we've included in this exhibition. We had originally thought to take it up to more modern times, being cognizant of the fact that we are in an area with a lot of military families. We're just very aware of that. So it's lighter than we had originally anticipated. We've stopped at the Vietnam War rather than carrying it forward. We're waiting to see. We've kept parts of it that we can change at short notice should we need to. I think we just need to be very aware that as a subject there will be people in our community who may find it upsetting. It may be part of their lived experience. It may be so we are working that through. As everyone is aware, costs for everything have gone up substantially, so the construction has been pared back to meet the budget. What we are doing, with the assumption that we get our development application through, is creating acrylic frames to go in the windows. Currently, we put the stickers up on the windows and take them down off the windows. The windows are original and that's putting a lot of strain on the windows. It's also quite difficult to do. So we've put in a development application to Heritage that we put a acrylic frame in the space. We can easily take the acrylic frame down and pull them off. We have every reason to believe that that will go through. And then we'll just be putting the acrylics on that. So that will be a permanent addition to the gallery, but it will make it much easier for us to change and be less strain on the windows. There will be some bolt holes, and that's why we have to work through with Heritage. But we're hoping that will be approved. So that's where we're at with the exhibition. We'll be working on the women who served overseas, which were nurses up until Vietnam War. And then we're talking about the roles of women at home, and there were a multitude of roles. So there was a lot of fundraising for especially the First World War and the Boer War. We have from the collection a silk program from a fundraising event that you may remember I brought forward to the committee some time back, and it's currently being conserved at Art Lab. We'll be doing things like the Dean for Victory Garden. We will be talking about time of fashions. It started in 1942 during the Second World War, and it was predominantly an employer of women. So we'll go to that. We'll be talking about the impact on the home front. We'll also have from the collection, we have a lovely letter that a serviceman sent back from Gallipoli, from memory, to a local girl from Williston who knitted some socks for him. So that was a program in the First World War to knit socks and scarves for servicemen overseas. She sent it over to him. He sent a thank you letter back, and we have that in the collection. So it's a beautiful letter. So there's lots of those very homely, personal connections in the exhibition, but we also talk about the bigger stories, the employment, as I said, timers, the roles that women took on, not so much in the land army around here, but we certainly had local women who went to the munitions factory in Salisbury and did that work there. And so it'll be multifaceted, women who served overseas, women who supported their community at home.
Through the chair, are we having anything on Lucy Tremlett? I noticed that the Headstone project, that's a nice link into.
So through the chair, yes, we are having quite a bit on Lucy Tremlett. We were put in contact through the Headstone project with her family last year, so we have a digital copy of her diary. We will be talking about Lucy and her story. And as you said, Helen, the Headstone project unveiled a plaque to her in the Williston Cemetery. She's in an unmarked grave. She was the last person surviving member of her family. And so as part of the History Festival events, there will be a service at the cemetery.
I actually read today on the Virtual Warmer Museum, she's actually in the family grave plot.
Yes.
But because she was the last one, her
She's
name is not recorded.
Yes,
so
that's
in
right.
fact, it's an unusual, so it's not completely unmarked,
No.
it's just she is unmarked.
She's unmarked.
Yeah.
Are you looking for anybody like Colin Teal, lives just down from me up Gawler East? He was in charge of time of fashion. Are you looking for anybody to come and speak to promote that area that we were just talking about, the time of fashion?
So through the chair, we can look at down the track because we like to have activities that relate back to exhibitions throughout the year, not just at the start. History Festival is pretty full on. So if you'd like to talk, we can certainly look at doing that further down the track.
Mm-hmm.
We might do that in partnership with the National Trust because they have a large collection of timer objects and dresses. We have some in there.
Probably a good speaker. He's bored to death and he lives up there, goes fishing and all that sort of stuff. But I think Colin Teal, you know, like he was in charge of basically the factory when it was closed down to go to a car yard.
He gave a talk to the Gawler history team, but I'm sure there's more detail, more specific detail about the Second World War. Yeah, good idea.
3-day event anniversaries, yes.
So through the chair, hopefully you've all seen our flyers for the 3-day event anniversary. So there are 2 activities. There is a bus tour that will go through what's left of the route of the event, but it will also stop at Dead Man's Pass and go for a walking tour of there and also hopefully the race course. And then in the evening, at 6:30 we have an anniversary celebration. So we're asking people to come back and share their memories of the 3-day event. And the memories of the 3-day event in Gawler, from my experience, are very varied. So I've met people who are volunteers, I've met people who worked, I have met people who were very young, and it gave them a lifelong love of following equestrian events, even though they never rode. It was just their thing at the Olympics. So it had a big impact. 65,000 people here. The logistics must have been enormous. So we're having a come and share your memories event. We'll have a panel. On the panel we have Bill Harbison, who was in charge of the veterinary hospital. For the event we have Peter Jones, who was in charge of Roseworthy, where all of the horses were stabled for the event. And we have the Olympian, Wayne Roycroft, who won 2 bronze medals and attended 3 Olympics, and he's going to come and be our MC for the event. We're offering the opportunity for community members to share short snippets of their memories and as an oral history, so that they can be recorded and added to the Gawler Heritage Collection. We'll have a light supper. People will be free to purchase drinks at the bar. But we're really hoping that this will be an opportunity for people to feed off each other. We often find that when people start to discuss things, the untold stories start to come out. The things that I have learnt through this process have been fascinating. So we think it will be a really fun event. It's a Monday evening, there's not much else on. So we ask that you encourage people to come along and enjoy the event.
Through to you. Have you been able to find some images that could be projected?
So through the chair we have collected all of the available film, and so there will be films. A couple of people who were desperate to be with us and who couldn't be, who were very involved, are recording video interviews that will play as well. So there's going to be plenty of images. We are creating a mini exhibition of Barry O'Brien's pictures, and that's really wonderful, I think, because you see them on the big screen, but if you get up close and you can have a look and you can start to identify parts of Gawler, so we'll hang them as well. And then we'll bring out from the collection all of the items we have associated with the 3-day event. Town of Gawler has a booth at the Adelaide Equestrian event for the 4 days that that's on, and that will be to promote our event up here, but also to promote Gawler as a visit. I have been doing bus tours all March, pretty much every day in March, and the overwhelming response I get was, I haven't been to Gawler in 30 years, this is fantastic. So we're hoping that that's an opportunity to talk to people and say, come and visit Gawler.
It might also be an opportunity perhaps to have a look at council's records for the civic reception that occurred. That might need to be called back, but there's some interesting photos there of very young elected members who went on to become mayors and staff, and a prince apparently.
Judy?
I just wondered if you had any information about whoever they were, the geniuses, that organised the billeting of people all throughout the town. We billeted a family of 3, but the job must have been absolutely horrendous, and they must have records, or do we know who they were? I mean, they were amazing to do that, to call people, to offer to volunteer to their places, and then to actually get people. I thought I was blown away by it. I thought it was very well done.
So in the collection we don't have any information on that, and I think that's one of the things that we're hoping that will come out of this, is that people who have information will bring it forth.
Okay.
So we have
There's no records of.
No, so we don't have the records of the organising committee. We do have a scrapbook of the organising committee, but that has the glory moments.
Yeah.
It is a scrapbook.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the. It
that's
doesn't have
a
the.
shame.
And I don't think council was involved in doing that. Were you in the Visitor Information Centre at that point, Brian?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because
Yeah.
that's what I can't believe how much that has been done on it, because without a doubt, Peter Jones and that, I didn't realise they were still around here. You know, I mean, they were some of the leaders in doing that. And Greg Harris organised all the buses and things like that, you know. And, yeah,
Sounds like you need to be there.
quite interesting.
You need to be at the event, Brian.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to say anything?
How far and wide do these beautiful brochures go? I mean, I picked them up from here, but are they anywhere else?
So through the chair there at the Visitor Information Centre, we've been promoting it on social media.
Oh,
There
yeah.
was an ad, a large ad in last week's Bunyip.
That's great.
Okay, and the History Festival was, can you say anything about that?
So through the chair, the History Festival, our annual event. This year there are 27 events in Gawler, being undertaken by 9 organisations. So it's a very full program. The Cultural Heritage Centre has the exhibition opening on May the 6th, and we are also offering guided tours of the exhibition. We have the Headstone Project plaque unveiling that we're working with the Headstone Project people on. We have on the 9th of May, Love and the Law, a legal history of same-sex relationships in South Australia. And that's a young academic PhD candidate from Melbourne who's writing on that. He's particularly interested in the Neville and Adamson case, which is very familiar to a lot of people. So we thought that would be a really interesting opportunity to delve into some of that history. He has quite a bit of information on them from their time in Victoria before they came to Gawler. We have the Darwin, Adelaide to Darwin overland trip that we spoke about before. We have Planning with Purpose, which is when we're launching the digital copy of Rob Cheeseman's book about planning in perpetuity, about Colonel Light, where we're talking about the importance of Colonel Light's vision for Gawler and the City of Adelaide and why that is still as relevant today as it was when he first created that. The Visitor Information Centre is offering tours based on James Martin and his impact on the town. The library is offering nostalgic baking with Cheryl Lee Menz from one of the Brossa Girls. The other activity that we have that's not listed is with Art Lab. The reason it's not listed is because Art Lab have had a very difficult time finalising details, and it's going to be a very small event, and that will be leather flower making. They'll be restricted to 10 people, and I have no qualms that we will fill it without it being on our calendar for events. But yes, Art Lab have taken a lot. They're very, very involved in the move of all of the state collections. So it's just, I'm still waiting for them to get back to me on details on that. So it's a large program of events in Gawler. The calendar hopefully will be finalised today and out, going off to the printers, and we can distribute it. It will go in the rates notices as it does every year. And it should be a action-packed history festival.
Moving right along. We've got items listed for discussion at future meetings, and sometimes that sort of that management plan keeps sort of bouncing around. So I guess it's
So through the chair, with Pioneer Park Interments, history festivals, exhibitions, it's a busy time of the year. So in our second half of the year is when we like to present the committee with some of our more strategic documents and the other items that we get involved with. And so that's when we're planning on presenting the management plan. So it's our second half of the year, and we will come back to the committee with some details around the future exhibitions that we discussed and work from there.
any questions without notice?
Yeah. I guess it's prompted by the fact that next year's our 190th as the town, and there's no pressure, but I'm just wondering if there's any thoughts of marking that, because of course a decade later we'll go into our 200th year, but we will also, which comes 2 years after the state bicentenary, so it seems like a long time, but maybe it's time to start thinking ahead about what we would like to achieve or have happen in those times.
I'd like to be alive.
I'd like to be alive. We'd all like to have glitter.
Anything else?
So, yeah, a few questions. Firstly, just any update on the time capsule and Art Lab?
So through the chair, no update on when the contents will be coming back to Gawler. The time capsule has come back. I picked the time capsule up last week. The Bunyip have been down at Art Lab and are doing another article on it. But no, I haven't got any indication yet about when the documents will come back. Relaxation of documents is a document by document activity. It may take a short period of time, it may take a longer period of time. So they can't really give me an estimate about when it will come back. Obviously, their intent, our concern, is that it's done as carefully as possible. We know how much interest there is in this time capsule, and Art Lab are aware that we would like it back as soon as possible, but we're balancing all of those.
Jacinta, can you say something about what relaxation means to the documents?
So relaxation to documents can take a couple of different forms. It can be either steam, so they'll humidify a document in a steam tent to get some moisture back into the document so that it can slowly release and that the creases can slowly work their way down. Sometimes they actually immerse documents in a fluid bath, which is quite scary when they're your documents, but we know that they know what they're doing, and so they completely wet a document on sometimes. Now, I don't know what they're going to do with our documents. We do know that they were in really good nick, so everybody was surprised at how good they were, but there are creases in them, and ideally a crease in a document is always its point of weakness. So while people might say just leave the creases, over time, and we're hoping these documents will be here in 500 years, they're the areas of weakness, they're the areas that fibres start to pull apart, and so you do always attempt to relax those as much as possible. They won't be completely flat, but they'll be relaxed, and it will minimise the future damage.
They did look really good.
Jacinta, is there any visual recording, video or whatever, filming, of these processes? Because they themselves are interesting and would be a great thing to have in conjunction with the things themselves.
So through the chair, that would be a decision for Art Lab.
But can we make requests?
They were very good when I made the request to open the video. As we can imagine, not many people would like all of their work documented, every minute of it.
No, I mean, it would be at their discretion what they filmed, but if they could do some, I mean, we saw a little bit at the history team, but if they could do a bit more, I mean, that document stuff would be very interesting to have visually recorded, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think we're very fortunate they allowed us to video what they have, and I think that the next great part of this journey is getting these items back and getting people to come to Gawler to have a look at them, and that will be...
So the answer is no.
Well, because there's already online some keyboard experts who've criticised their techniques.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh.
So you always get somebody who, got...
Fair enough. No,
so
fair enough.
I don't...
that's a shame.
Yeah, I think we've done well to get what they've done.
That's a shame. I didn't realise that when I asked.
No, they have been. But
Criticised the opening of the lead box, criticised the way they handled it, criticised...
Oh,
you know.
Oh, no wonder they're a bit... Yeah.
Just through the chair, maybe is it possible to get before and after shots?
So through the chair, yes, they always produce before and after shots.
Thank you.
Through the chair, if I may just clarify a couple of things before we continue. Councillor Hennessy, you referenced 190th anniversary. I'm at a loss to 190 as are you referencing the town of Gawler's incorporation and 170?
Hang on, my maths is bad.
Yeah.
So it was 1837, the town was...
1839.
39. My maths is Dreadful.
So the 190th isn't until 2049.
Excellent. Thank you. So it's the state's 190th next year.
No, it won't be. That'll be 2046.
Well, we did have a 175th
In 89.
in a few years ago, and they made stickers and everything for it. So presumably,
So
it's not-
next year marks the 170th anniversary of the incorporation of the town of Gawler
And the Gawler
As-
Institute, yeah,
as an entity.
right.
Nothing in my maths works to 190,
Okay.
even on a state basis of 1836.
Okay.
So I'm just
No, thank
wondering
you.
where the numbers
No,
are coming
it's,
from.
don't trust my maths. That's what I'm trying to do is already there's lobbying from the History Council
Yes,
for the state government to start forward
Thinking.
planning
for its
Um,
190th,
for, no, they're taking it out to the
the
bicentennial,
200th,
the
yep,
200th.
yep, no.
Sorry, having seen that quickly, I'm going very conscious that we're a couple of years behind,
We're 3 years behind.
3 years
state.
behind
Yes.
the state.
Yes,
Yes, that's where my question comes from. If, again, we need to be looking over the horizon because very
we're
much like,
23 years off.
okay, there's a long horizon. Let me tell you, we had less than 18 months to create the history book
Yep.
for the last one, and that's impossible timeline.
So, so the 175th was about 12 years ago, wasn't it? And so the 190th is coming up in 3 years.
175th is 1989.
The-
Or was it the one? No, that was the 150th. 150th was 1989, that's right. Yeah.
But it is 100, this is the 190th year since 1836, isn't it? So it's the actual state.
Yeah,
So that is a number, but
the state one this year, and then in
3 years'
3
time,
years'
it'll be
time.
Gawler's 190th. Is that right? I've got that right?
We'll work it out.
anyway.
Don't worry too much about the
However,
numbers.
through the chair, it is Corporation of the Town of Gawler's 170th
Yes.
birthday next year. That's
Yes.
definitive.
Yes.
So that may be something that we'd like to celebrate. And yes, there's the Gawler Institute's anniversary as well.
Well, in fact, the council followed the institute, so let's get it the right way around. They came to the party later. Yeah, no, okay, sorry, all I'm trying to do is flag some significant dates on the horizons. That's my point. Sorry for the maths.
That's all good.
Toby?
So, my next question is just around time capsules. It has come up at the presentation at the history meeting, for example. Do we know where the other ones unopened might be and ones that are coming up? And just around having a document or a list somewhere on where that is and when they are.
So through the chair, in the Cultural Heritage Centre, in the Gawler Heritage Collection, we have some references to some time capsules. Our concern is ultimately the ones that belong to council. So schools have them, churches have them, we can create a record of them, but what happens to those time capsules belongs to those entities to figure out. We are aware of ours. We've had some interesting discussions about ours and the fact that the town hall had one and we didn't realise that it was gone, it was missing as part of this process. Yes, so apparently some renovations were done on the town hall and they realised it was missing. So possibly had gold coins in it.
Where was it?
At the front of the building apparently.
Hmm.
So as to that question, we don't have a definitive list in the Cultural Heritage Centre. If anyone in the community would like to take on the project of creating a community-wide list, we'd love to have a copy of that. It's not part of our mandate to be doing our research on the Cultural Heritage, Gawler Heritage Collection.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just, because I'm also on the board of the Gawler History team, and just, I think it's something that they are potentially interested in creating some documentation on, and if they do, we can send it through.
So yeah, through the chair, I think you pop it on the website as you have previously, and you pop it through to us. I am aware there was a discussion at council. We think that it would be a lovely opportunity when we mount an exhibition of our time capsule contents to have a visitor's book where people could put their thoughts down about what would be great to put in a time capsule now, what they think would capture modern today's Gawler, that should be there for posterity. That's a lovely opportunity to provide feedback. So there's a couple of different things that we can do around time capsules that may be of use to in the future should council decide to put one somewhere.
So actually something about time capsules is that the recovery of one often triggers the placement of another. I was speaking to some people who are doing work on the wall at Kinley's monument, and they noted that they were from the UK and they recovered a lot of time capsules, quite a few more than we'd ever see, and it was usual that it was replaced with a modern time capsule.
A bit of time and planning needs to go in,
Yeah.
including where you site it, because there is a history in Gawler, often disappearing, so they need to be secured carefully and within a building, basically, not just anywhere. It sounds like a very good thing. I mean, the Gawler history team could do a call out to the community, because I'm sure there's plenty, but nobody's ever done that call.
So yeah, just something that I've been looking into, because I think this is the most public interest we've had in Gawler's cultural heritage by a significant margin, to the point of being basically national news. So yeah, just something to keep looking at in the future. And the other thing I wanted to ask was around another thing that's being looked at is Trove and the Bunyip being updated. Did we have any modern numbers on what a year of adding to Trove would cost?
Through the chair, a couple of years ago I presented a report to the committee on bringing the Bunyip up to 2010 on Trove, and it was around $80,000 at that time. So the State Library is aware that we're looking for grant opportunities, and as part of our role in our regional heritage network, we helped facilitate the Barossa historical groups who managed to get funding to get the Barossa News on to Trove. So the State Library is very aware that the Gawler community would like to get the Bunyip on there. So we're looking for opportunities. Obviously $80,000 is a large sum of money, and we didn't ask for a year-by-year breakdown, but I can ask if you'd like me. I can get some more current.
I think the history team is, well, thinking of funding it themselves, but I think a five-year period or something to start with is probably more realistic than trying to get it updated to the modern day, and would trigger a further wave of interest in modernising it, because we could promote, oh, were you around in 1959? Here's all the articles of what was happening there, and sort of push that along. If we could get the 50s and 60s digitised, I think that would be something that could be of interest to a lot of people still living in the town.
Perhaps you could share that report. Could you send the link round to that so that we can all revisit it? Because it was very useful. You did quite a lot of work on that. I do note the Port Lincoln Times has now been brought up to 1978, and I hear a rumour that was also funded by some people in the community. So well done if all the history team wants to coordinate that. That would be brilliant.
Are there any motions without notice? No? Well, I guess that finishes the meeting. Thank you.
Sweet. Do you want some socks to go with that?